It starts with a simple truth you didn't know how to question, that love had conditions. You learned it quietly without words, through the small sighs of disappointment, the way praise only came when you excelled, the way comfort sometimes followed achievement, but not pain. You realized long before you could explain it that love wasn't something you simply received. It was something you earned, and so you became good, polite, high achieving, the child who never caused trouble, who said the right things, who anticipated the needs of everyone around you. You learned to make yourself small and pleasing because safety came wrapped in approval. And somewhere in that performance, somewhere between the perfect grades, the forced smiles, and the constant vigilance, you disappeared. This is the quiet heartbreak of what psychologists call the good child syndrome, when a child learns that being good is safer than being real. On the surface, it looks like maturity, responsibility, even success, but beneath the surface, it's survival. You learn to suppress anger because it might invite rejection. You hide sadness because it might burden someone. You anticipate needs before they're spoken because control feels safer than uncertainty. The good child doesn't rebel, they adapt. They don't fight for love, they earn it. They build an identity around being dependable, kind, and capable because that's what kept them close to the people they needed most. But the cost of that adaptation is authenticity. When your worth becomes tied to your usefulness, you lose touch with the messy, imperfect parts of yourself, the parts that make you human. You start to believe that love is conditional, that it can vanish the moment you stop performing. So even as an adult, you find yourself apologizing for existing too loudly, for taking up space, for being less than perfect. You work too hard, give too much, and feel guilty when you rest. You're praised for being responsible, but underneath the applause, you feel hollow, because the person they're clapping for isn't fully you. At its core, the good child syndrome is a defense mechanism, not a personality trait. It's the nervous system's way of saying, I'll be whoever I need to be to stay safe. Children depend on their caregivers for survival, not just physically, but emotionally. When love is inconsistent, or when a parent's moods are unpredictable, a child's instinct is not to question the parent, it's to question themselves. Maybe if I try harder, they'll be happy. Maybe if I stop crying, they'll stay. Maybe if I become perfect, I'll finally be enough. Over time, those thoughts crystallize into behaviors. Achievement, compliance, caretaking. What looks like goodness is really hypervigilance, a nervous system trained to read every emotional shift in the room. And that vigilance doesn't just fade when you grow up. It follows you into adulthood, shaping how you love, work, and exist in the world. You might become the friend everyone leans on, the employee who never says no, the partner who keeps the peace at all costs. You excel in roles that reward self-sacrifice, teaching, caregiving, leadership, but you struggle to express your own needs. You might even feel uncomfortable when things are calm, because your body has learned to equate peace with danger. The absence of crisis feels foreign. The moment you start to relax, your mind whispers, something's wrong. Perfectionism is often the grown-up face of this survival strategy. To the outside world, perfectionists look driven, disciplined, even admirable. But internally, perfectionism is fueled by fear of rejection, of failure, of being seen as flawed. The perfectionist doesn't chase excellence for joy, they chase it for safety. Each success is temporary reassurance. I'm still worthy, I'm still okay. But the bar keeps moving higher because the root belief that love depends on performance never truly goes away. You end up living in a constant state of self-surveillance, policing your emotions, your actions, your image. Even rest feels like a risk because it threatens the illusion of control. This illusion of control is powerful. It convinces you that if you just do everything right, nothing bad will happen. But the truth is, perfection is a moving target, and the chase only deepens the emptiness. Because beneath the polished exterior, there's a child who never got to feel loved simply for existing. The adult may wear confidence like armor, but inside, there's still a longing, not for praise, but for permission. permission to be messy, to fail, to be loved without earning it. Healing from the good child syndrome means challenging the rules that once kept you safe. It means noticing the quiet panic that rises when you disappoint someone and choosing to stay present instead of apologizing your way out of discomfort. It means learning that saying no isn't selfish, it's honest. It means letting go of the idea that being needed is the same as being loved. For many, this process feels like betrayal, like you're abandoning the version of yourself that protected you. But healing isn't betrayal, it's integration. You're not erasing the good child, you're helping them feel safe enough to rest. Therapists often talk about inner child work, the practice of reconnecting with the part of you that learned to perform for love. This isn't about blaming your parents or rewriting the past. It's about reparenting yourself now. When that voice inside says, you have to earn rest, you respond, you're safe now. When it says, they'll leave if you mess up, you remind yourself, the people meant for me can handle my humanity. Slowly, you build new associations. Safety becomes linked not to control, but to truth. Authenticity, after a lifetime of performance, can feel dangerous. Being real means risking rejection, the very thing you've spent your life avoiding. But authenticity is the only way to experience real connection. When you hide your true self to keep someone close, the love you receive isn't truly yours. It's for the mask you wear. To be known, you must be seen. To be seen, you must be vulnerable. And vulnerability, for the good child, is the most radical act of all. You might notice as you start to unlearn the need to be perfect that grief surfaces. You grieve the years spent chasing approval, the exhaustion of always being on, the lost innocence of never feeling unconditional love. That grief is sacred. It means you're finally facing what you once had to suppress. You're allowing the truth in. You're acknowledging that being good came at a cost, and that cost was you. But the beauty of this awareness is that it opens the door to something deeper than goodness, wholeness. Wholeness is not about being perfect or likable or composed. It's about being real, angry when you're angry, sad when you're sad, joyful when you're joyful. It's about giving up the exhausting project of managing everyone's perception of you and learning to tolerate being misunderstood. It's about choosing truth over approval, even when your voice shakes. There will still be days when the old habits return, when you over-apologize, overwork, or overthink. That's okay. Those patterns were once your protection. The goal isn't to eliminate them, but to recognize them for what they are. Echoes of a younger you, still trying to feel safe. You can thank them for their service and gently remind yourself that you're no longer that child. You have agency now. You can disappoint people and still be loved. You can rest and still be worthy. In the end, healing from the good child syndrome isn't about becoming less good. It's about becoming more real. It's realizing that your softness isn't a flaw, your imperfection isn't a threat, and your needs aren't a burden. It's daring to believe that love doesn't have to be earned, only received. So if you've spent your life being the reliable one, the calm one, the one who holds everything together, this is your permission to put it down. You don't have to perform to be worthy. You don't have to be perfect to be loved. You don't have to disappear to stay safe. You were never too much. You were just never allowed to be enough. And now you get to change that. You get to meet yourself, not the good child, not the perfect adult, but the human underneath, the one who's always been waiting to be seen, the one who doesn't need to be good, just real.